Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. Danne Reed wants you to know that you can be and do whatever you want, regardless of your age. Danne, thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much, Bill. I appreciate you inviting me.
Now, Danne, you came across this, and you begin your book and say that there were some things holding you back. Can you tell us what those were?
Absolutely. Probably your show isn't long enough for me to list all of them.
Just the first 150 should do it.
Yeah, the first few dozen. I ultimately, when I really started digging into it, everything that was holding me back was all internal. And I know we always tend to think that it's things that are outside of our control that are holding us back, but I'm here to tell you that it's really not the case. The majority of things that keep us from being who we want to be in life it's internal. For me, it was expectations from other people, things that I thought other people were expecting of me. It was excuses, frankly, things like, I just don't have time to follow my own dreams. It would be detrimental to my kids if I followed my own dreams. In other words, taking time away from taking care of my family turned into a bad thing, right? Which it's completely and totally the opposite.
Now, you've written a series of books, and I explained before the show, I really thought this was a totally different topic, and your books are called Fashionably Late. Can you explain what that title means?
Well, it's all about just finally showing up. I don't know if you're familiar with the term fashionably late. It originated back in 17th or 18th century in the London tone, where people were supposed to show up at a ball fashionably late. It really wasn't the thing to do, to show up early or even show up on time. Fashionably late was desirable. And so that's the idea that I'm trying to get across, is that wherever you are in your life story right now, it is the perfect time for you to show up to being that person that you've always wanted to be, to being your authentic self. It's far better than showing up too early, because when we're a lot younger, we really don't have a good grasp of who we are and what we want out of life. And it's, of course, far better than never showing up at all, right? It's far better than taking it to your grave, all of your dreams and your hopes and everything that you wanted to get out of life.
How do we know if it's that time? We start out, we go to college, then let's say we're a teacher, so we're working days, we're getting our masters, hopefully we're either looking for a spouse or enjoying the company of someone else, maybe starting a family. All of a sudden we're 37, 38, 42. How do we know if we're really getting the most out of our potential? And when you start bringing up fashionably late to people, do they go, are you crazy? When am I going to do this? I'm getting my master's, I'm running the house, I'm mowing the lawn, I've got to go to the PTA, blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and when it hits most of us is when our children are a little bit older and they're a little more self-sufficient. And so you actually have some time to think, hey, wait a minute, where did I go in this equation? Before that, when our kids are little, we're so busy we don't even have time to think about what we want to get out of life. And so that's pretty typical that when people start to reach the 40 or mid-40, even 50s and beyond age, they have a little bit more time to themselves. And the concept of really, really using your gifts to serve others becomes a very strong pull about that time.
Now, one of the things you mentioned that when you do achieve your goal, you have to overcome debilitating beliefs. And that's interesting because it's not disabilities, it's beliefs. Can you tell us about that? What are some of these that either you've experienced or some of the people that you talk about in your book?
Sure. It can be again, a laundry list of things that people tell themselves. It could be that something as simple as, well, I'm not smart enough to do that. I'm not educated enough to do what I want to do. I'm not wealthy enough. I'm too old. I'm too young. The list of excuses is a mile long. And I do call them excuses. It's maybe a little bit of a painful word to hear, that these beliefs are actually excuses. But ultimately, when you recognize that the belief is all yours, then the next thing is that you realize that you can change it, right? So it actually is empowering if you think of it that way. In my own case, the belief that I had, for example, about being able to get a book published, I told myself for years that you really had to have a relative or a friend in the publishing industry, right, in order to be able to publish a book. And of course now it's completely and totally untrue. Whether it ever was or not, I don't know, but it was a story that I told myself for a long time, that when I started really digging into it and said, okay, I'm gonna publish a book no matter what, I actually found out that I didn't have to have a relative in the business.
Well, that's
yeah.
I think that's so great because you got rid of the excuses, and not only did you publish a book, but you have a whole series of books.
Yeah. Yes. I have a whole list of the next ones. Like I've got a bunch of them that are coming. So yeah, that's been fun. Is really, because I had that dream of being an author since I was in grade school, and it's just something that I harbored in the back of my mind, and for a long time really told myself that it wasn't a possibility for me.
Now, Danne, I'd like to let our audience know, and this is the perfect time for a segue. Our guest today is Danne, spelled Danne Reed. Her book is Fashionably Late. Tell us where we can get the book, and is there a website we should know more about?
So you can get the book at any online outlet. You could also get it in bookstores. If they don't stock it, you can just ask for it by title. But you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble online, just about anywhere online. And the website is just DanneReed.com. So it's DanneReed.com. And you can get the book through my website as well.
And I will say to people again, we always scan a lot of books before we have authors on the show. We want the books that are most applicable to our audience and also easy and quick to read and get the message through to us. This is a very easy read. It gets the message across very quickly. And it's not going to take long for you to look at this and say, Danny's talking about me. I'm 44 and I always wanted to blank, fill in the blank. And haven't done it yet. What am I waiting for? Because when you're 64, you're going to say the same thing probably. And maybe when you're 84, you're going to say, gee, should I go back to college now to get that degree? Take a look at Danny's book. A lot of good ideas. The book is Fashionably Late by our guest, Danne, spelled Danne, Reed, Reed. Danne, you talk about winning external and internal battles in order to start showing up fashionably late. What are these battles?
So the external ones are that make a change in our life. We've actually developed some long-term relationships based on the way that we used to be. So it can cause a little bit of turmoil, temporary turmoil, I like to think, in some of our relationships because people tend to fear the change, right? So you're getting ready to make a change, and the people that are around you, your closest loved ones, are like, okay, what is this change going to mean for me? So really, I would say that some of the biggest external ones are relationships. there are, of course, other you have certain health goals and you've been sedentary for a long time. That's obviously going to be a real physical obstacle to you starting that journey. If you're wanting to start a business, it's a real, true obstacle or challenge if you don't have funds to get things started. Now, I will say that once you start taking steps, these things show up. The how will show up. But initially, there can be challenges to overcome that are external. The internal challenges are just simply those passion assassins. I like to call.
I love that term. What are those passion assassins?
Yeah, it's basically just, I call them passion assassins because a lot of times you don't know they're there, but they are beliefs that you have kind of buried deep inside your psyche that will keep you stuck in the same place if you don't pull them out into the light of day, shine some light on them, and eliminate them. So it is just a passion assassin is a long-held belief that is keeping you limited in your ability to achieve your dreams.
And I guess it's also easy for other people to kind of keep us boxed in because, they don't want to see us doing too much because we make them look bad. When you became an author, I'm sure other friends who said, oh, she'll never succeed at that, looked up and said, oh, my gosh, now she's got several books published and we're still sitting where we were sitting several years ago.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times what you find is it's well-meaning people. They don't necessarily mean to hold you back. They may be thinking that they are holding you back so that you don't get hurt. But ultimately, you really need to overcome that negative chatter, whether that's internal negative chatter or external negative chatter, in order to achieve your dreams.
Now, some good news. You point out to us that so many people have great achievements in life, yet fail to realize they can apply these same reasonings and determination to another field. Like some people are great moms and dads, and to me, it's tougher to be that. You've got 2 or 3 kids, you're getting them organized, off to school, to their activities, bed, proper health, etc. That's like running a small army or a small company, and yet they don't think they're good enough to pursue something that they want in life, whether it's an extra degree or start a new business or something like that. Is there a reason for that?
I think there are some societal norms that we've just gotten used to. I can't tell you how many times I have heard people say, well, I can't do that. I'm just a mom. I'm like, are you
just a mom?
Me?
Wow.
Are you kidding me? What's harder than that? So yeah. And I think I give the example in the book of someone who pays off a huge amount of debt. Like they have the self-discipline and they have the organization skills and they have the creativity to figure out how to pay off a huge amount of debt. They can apply that same self-discipline and creativity and organizational skills to trying to lose weight or trying to get a new job or trying to start a business. They're valuable skills that are required in achieving anything big like that. And people just don't give themselves the credit for having those skills. And it's just like you said, Bill, someone who runs a household well, raises children well, they've got amazing skills that can be applied to any other endeavor.
And I guess the great news is, and I made sure I wrote this down as a question and a statement to talk to you about, the time for change often comes after a low spot in our life. I guess for some of us that's getting fired, or it might mean a broken relationship, or maybe the children go off to college and we feel a little lonely. But sometimes this is the exact time when we break out of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in a lot of cases, we don't actually